Breathalyzers are back. Judge Brennan ruled that the moratorium is now over and they can be used in criminal prosecution. So what was the thing about breathalyzers that led to this 2-year moratorium, or maybe almost a little bit over at this point? So it wasn't the issue of the individual tests that people were taking. So what happened was when people go to the police station, you take a breathalyzer, there's certain things that they essentially need to do to comply with that particular test being valid, right? So a person takes the test, there's a bunch of things that they need to do, a bunch of procedures they need to follow. So that really wasn't the issue. The issue that Judge Brennan had for these last 2 years was the issue of the periodic testing wasn't done consistently and that didn't follow the CMRs that were essentially put out. So the regulations that actually regulated the machine itself. So just like anything else, no machine's perfect, right? So everything essentially needs to be tested from time to time to make sure that that piece of machine is working correctly. So if you had a car, you don't expect that your car is going to work correctly for the next 100 years. It's only a matter of time, and you're not exactly sure what that's going to be, where your car probably is in tip-top shape, and at some point, it's going to break down. So how do you figure out when that time is going to be? One way is to drive your car into the ground, and at some point, it's just going to stop working. But at some point, you're going to know that your car is probably not working the way it should be. You can also bring your car to a mechanic every month and essentially get a tune-up to make sure it's running the correct way. So that exactly was what is happening with breathalyzer machines. As part of the regulations, instead of just driving it into the ground and figuring out, well, at some point it's going to die, every month it had essentially a strict test it needed to follow to make sure that this machine was working correctly. That was the periodic testing that was going through. What had happened was they realized that the machine itself, when it was being tested, wasn't exactly being done with the same rules and regulations that it was required to. And as a result of that, Judge Brennan, for a certain period of time, had kicked out certain tests over the past years. And there was another time period in which was kind of allowed, kind of not allowed, depending on the situation. And then, once again, during this whole litigation was going on, there was essentially a moratorium of using breathalyzers in court. But they are back now. They are being used. So you do need to be careful out there. And as always, the best idea is always to not drink and drive, to make sure that you're safe, and always keep yourself safe, but also the people around you.